Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm going to prove to you in this very short video how if the Democrats try to replace Joe Biden on the ballot, it will guarantee a Donald Trump presidency in the next 4 years. Let's get to it. Two nightmare scenarios I'm going to give you, and then I'm going to quickly explain how we get there. Nightmare scenario number one, Joe Biden is the candidate on some of the states' ballots, and his proposed replacement is the candidate on the remaining states' ballots. Let's do the math. Let's assume hypothetically it's Joe Biden on 30 state ballots, Kamala Harris on the remaining 20 state ballots. Obviously, the math even Donald Trump could do in that situation dictates that neither candidate could win and Donald Trump becomes president. Nightmare scenario number two, the Heritage Group and other groups that have already said they're going to sue to try to delay or block Joe Biden's replacement on the ballots across the 50 states, get an injunction or a favorable court order, and they delay or impede the process of replacing him, and Joe Biden becomes a lame duck, meaning the Democrats are going to have to explain why they tried to replace Joe Biden, but they couldn't. And now, just kidding, we said he was too old, we said he was too infirm, we even tried to replace him, and you should trust us now and just go ahead and vote for him. Forget that we did that, just kidding. Not even Joe Biden, as much as I love him, can win under those impossible circumstances. How is this going to occur? Well, state law determines 95% of the procedures and deadlines and technicalities and regulations for how candidates are voted into office, even in federal elections. The Constitution only governs things like, qualifications at a very basic level, age, where they're born, things of that nature. So what that does is it's critical. It gives 50 different opportunities for right-wing groups to try to find some kind of technicality, some kind of favorable judge in these states where most of the judges, by the way, are elected into office. And that's all they need is one or two states, one or two judges of the many thousands across the 50 states where they can get an injunction or some kind of court order that can delay things. That will lead to these nightmare scenarios, one or the other. You imagine this. I want you to think about it. A West Texas judge in a MAGA district who's facing election in 6 months. And then you have Republicans coming to him claiming there's some kind of technicality that was violated by the Democratic Party and trying to replace Joe Biden on the ballot. There are 50 different opportunities for that mischief and that mayhem. And if you think litigation can be solved quickly between the August 22nd Democratic National Convention and the November election, you're crazy. Look how long it took for the Supreme Court to resolve the Trump immunity issue. And if you think judges aren't corrupt or aren't politically biased, even when they're elected into office, I think the last term of the Supreme Court should educate you otherwise. You see, most judges, like I said, are elected into office. The Supreme Court has life tenure, and even they were in the tank for Donald Trump. I can guarantee you we need to stop wasting time on this fool's errand of trying to replace Joe Biden. Get behind him. He's a good candidate. He's going to win. He's tied in the polls even after that debate performance. And Donald Trump is a danger to the American people. Let's talk not about replacing Biden. Let's talk about the Epstein files. Let's talk about Project 2025. Let's talk about how he's in bed with Russia. Let's talk about the millions of people in Ukraine whose lives are at risk if Donald Trump becomes president. Let's talk about how he's in bed with the billionaires and how he cares only about the rich and only about avoiding prison. We cannot let this rapist, potential pedophile, win the presidency by defeating ourselves. God bless America. God bless Ukraine. Let's get behind Biden. Love you all.